If you're going to come at us, we're going to come at you 3 times harder. That's all we do. All we do is come out here in Toronto.
We used to have these games circled on the calendar, and we used to call them Parents' Night, right? When you knew that the opponent wasn't at your level, you call Parents' Night because the freshmen are going to get some playing time. Kind of those JV guys are going to get some playing time. Everyone's going to touch the rock. And so we actually have this kind of on the calendar as that Parents' Night.
It's the regular season. Who cares? And that really seems to be the only thing that Will's team does care about is the regular season, because they have the highest winning percentage in the regular season, yet they don't have a single ring.
Looking at Ahmad dropping and adding the same player 4 times, like, what's he up to, man? I don't know. Who else is doing it like me?
And then the narrative that I don't know ball is crazy. Find me a better sports gambler in this group that we got.
I'll say it. I have the best group of guys I've ever had in the last 9 years of JPDL football.
We made it, boys. We are here. It is finally week 1. First NFL game coming up a few hours from now. And since we've started making video content on this channel again, this is easily the video I'm most excited to make. Off season has been long. It's been strenuous. Coming up with content has been difficult. But now it's easy. Now the content comes to us. And I'll say, look, could I give a lot of sentimental reasons why I'm excited for football to be back? Sure. Watching our teams, being in the group chat, being around friends. Yeah, that's all nice and all. For me, as commissioner of this league, it's time to start making money. We got ticket sales coming in. We have celebrities popping off. We have our sponsorships sold. We have our commercials sold. I'm ready to get my pockets fattened. And look, to all the other owners out there, yeah. I mean, you guys are going to get a split of revenue as well. So don't worry. Stuff is coming your way. So for this video, we're going to go through the week 1 lineups. We're going to do a little preview. I'm going to make picks against the spread for each matchup. But before we get into it, guys, join the Wolfpack. Join the league. Hit the subscribe button. Follow our league all year long. I really do think it is the best fantasy football league in the world. Maybe not in the world, but we're top 10. All right, and you guys will see some of the content that we're making and some of the personalities of the league if you follow along. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. I hate to ask, but it's kind of what you got to do on YouTube. So let's get into it. Week 1. Now, I built the schedule. I hand built it. We're not poverty out here. We don't let Sleeper, we don't let ESPN make our schedules. We hand build it. It's a labor of love. And I made a longer video earlier in the offseason going over why each game fell into a certain slot. But for week 1, we expanded from 10 teams to 12 teams. So we have the Milkers and the Schrock Shooters on Thursday night, the Celsius Kickoff Classic. Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime. So look, there are expansion teams, and we'll get into the lineups coming up here. Not the best teams. I did my best as commissioner to give them kind of a runway. I feel like they're little sea turtles going towards the ocean. So I was the helping hand to push them towards the ocean. But they're early on their journey. They're going to learn. And part of that learning comes with losses. But they played our week 1. So they have a fighting chance. And that's all you can ask for in this beautiful game of fantasy football. Then going into Friday, so we do have a Friday game at 4 o'clock in Munich, Germany, the Blitzkrieg Bowl between Vice City Business and the 67ers of New York. Look, I mean, they're rivals. We'll get into their interviews. It's a hotly contested matchup between the two of them. And then on Sunday, we have 3 games. We have our Sunday night game, which is the Atlanta Juicers, last year's defending champion. So I respect the NFL, how they have their champion on Thursday night to start the season. For us here in the JPDL, we put them on NBC on Sunday Night Football. So a little momentum build throughout the week, and then you get to see the defending champion at home in the championship rematch from last year. So the Frauds, the Juicers, they were a 2024 championship matchup. So they got to we'll see if the Frauds can get a little revenge in week 1. And then Monday night, you guys saw them on the thumbnail. This is probably a championship preview in my estimation. I think these are the 2 best teams going into this year. We have the LA Flames, not the best name in the world, but hey, we'll move on from that. And then the Washington Kickballers. So a little Monday night matchup on ESPN to finalize week 1. But you guys don't really care about all that. You guys care about the matchups, about what the lineups are looking like. And let's pick some games. Let's go through the lineup. So for Montana and for Chirac, and by the way, before I get into all these, we'll be showing the interviews sporadically throughout this video so you can hear from the owners themselves. I would hate to negatively portray or inaccurately portray their sentiment towards their teams and towards their week one matchups. But we have the Milkers right here. They're projected for 70 points, which is really low. I would say to win in the JPDL, you need to be consistently in the 130 range, but they are an expansion team. You see Tua Tagovailoa at quarterback 1 and Sam Darnold, so he does have a few quarterbacks. Look, man, Taj Brooks at running back 2, Brian Robinson at running back 1. He doesn't have the running backs. We have A.D. Mitchell out there, Blake Corum. So, again, it's a rebuilding process. Both these teams have a lot of first-round picks in the coming years, but they're building their identity. They're building their program, just like Bill Belichick at UNC. It might not look beautiful day one, but, you got to set that foundation so that when you bring talent in, you have something to build off of. And then Schrock, projected for 97 points. So they have Stafford, Geno Smith, James Conner, Tony Pollard. The wide receivers not looking too great. They do have Ja'Cory Crossett-Merritt. We'll see if Ja'Cory Crossett-Merritt plays this week. He's RB4 on the depth chart. I could see him being a healthy scratch. So, and again, that's a great point here. These are the lineups as of Thursday. I'm sure things will change as we go throughout the week. But Harold Fannin, I like him a lot at flex. So Mikel is projected to win by 27 points. I don't have him covering, but I do have him winning. I actually have this one as a close contest. I think Montana, from what I've heard this offseason, I think they're going to be ready to play. I know they don't have the talent on the field, but I believe in that coach over there in Montana, and I believe they'll keep it close. I think maybe 15 points would be a more accurate point differential for this one. So all of Montana covering, but I'll have Shrek starting off 1-0, getting their first win in the JPDL.
Hey, yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question. I wouldn't really use. It's funny how we use that word tough, right? I'd obviously like to ask, when we're saying tough, what exactly do we mean? No, this is not going to be a tough opponent or a tough start of the campaign. This is one of those games, it's kind of those feel good. I used to be, before I was an owner over here in Chicago, I used to actually be, a varsity football coach, back in my heyday. And we used to have these games circled on the calendar, and we used to call them Parents' Night, right? When you knew that the opponent wasn't at your level, you call Parents' Night because the freshmen are going to get some playing time, kind of those JV guys are going to get some playing time. Everyone's going to touch the rock. And so we actually have this kind of on the calendar as that Parents' Night. We're really not worried about our opponent, those guys over there at BYU. Surprised that city even got a franchise, to be completely honest. But that's out of my control. But, this is one of those games where everyone's going to touch the rock. Everyone's going to have a good time. We're going to bring out the girlfriends, bring out the wives, and pop champagne by halftime because we're not worried. We're interested in those teams, those cities like Vice City, those cities like Toronto, those cities like New York, where, this year we're going to have some disadvantages. Those are the games that are going to be kind of, fun for us to play, a little more challenging because, again, we're disadvantaged. But tough, I'm going to try to take that question, not personally because it doesn't really make sense to me. And then I guess moving on, do we have any celebrities popping out? This is going to be a great first game. Everyone's super excited about getting, Chicago as a city, as a franchise in the city of Chicago. We're going to have, I believe Mike is going to be there. I think he was in UNC last weekend for Bill Belichick's first game. So I'm excited that he's going to be up in the owner suite with me. We have the Obamas up here. They're from Chicago. Oprah, I believe so. Harrison Ford is a huge fan. He's from the Chicago area. I don't know if the Bulls team is going to come, so not too sure about that. But yeah, we're, it's just going to be a calm little Sunday. Probably going to take the PJ over. I'm in, a different city now, but it's going to be a good time. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to the matchup. And yeah, excited for the season. Here we go. Let's ride. we've been using this over training camp in the locker room, and we're ready to Swiss cheese those milkers, bro. It's about to be some Swiss cheese. So be ready.
How you guys doing? It's Pat, owner of the Montana Milkers, and football is here. Here to answer a few questions heading into week one. One of them being, is there any added pressure to this game with it being the easiest game of the season? I do think it is the easiest game of the season, and with that being said, I mean, there's no pressure. We're gonna go out there, and I gotta see who my guys are. I'm gonna build around. I gotta see who my athletes are, and I think it's gonna be a fun outing for Montana to really show the fans who we are, and more for the players to figure out who they are and what they can do for me on that gridiron. So it should be fun. We're gonna knock some heads off some swivels, and Chirac's gonna get milked. So I can't wait for that. No added pressure at all, because those pansies are gonna go out there and not know what the fuck they're doing. I mean, the coaching staff doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. The owner doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, and I can't wait to expose that come week one. It's gonna be a fun time, and let's put some points on the board. Second question being, what do I think of the other owner? I think he talks a lot of shit and can't back it up, and I can't wait for that to come to light. I've never seen an owner just run his mouth repeatedly so much, and not only that, he does it when he doesn't have the tools in his bag to show anybody what they can do, and that'll be fun when the fans notice that after he gets milked. So all I gotta say to him is, like, keep talking your shit, keep that bitch made mentality up, and I'll see you on the football field.
Moving on to the second matchup. All right, so we have Vice City Business against New York 67ers here. Chris's name is the 67ers because he went 6-7 4 straight years. He's never won a playoff game in 8 years of the league, so he's kind of the laughing stock, but he is projected to win in week one here, projected for 136 points. You guys see that stack right there with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, obviously. A year ago, that was the stack you wanted. We'll see if that continues this year. He has Bucky Irving, Breece Hall, so good running backs. Malik Neighbors, I don't love the matchup week one in Washington, but we'll see how he's doing. I do really like Ricky Pearsall. I know Jawan Jennings just got incentives, that $3 million deal, so he'll probably be out there. They're kind of healthy. They have Kittle, they have CMC, but Pearsall, I really do think he could be the wide receiver one pretty convincingly out there in San Fran. Jerome Ford, hey, he's the running back this week. They said he's going to be the early down back, so we'll see what he has in store. And then Jalen Waddle and Justin Herbert. I don't know if I'm going to go through the whole lineup for everyone, but look, I really do like the 67ers roster this year. They're a little top heavy. Neither of these two teams have the most depth in the league, but these starting lineups are something to behold. And then Vice City Business over there, I believe in the quarterbacks this year. These are two of the guys, along with Dak Prescott, that I'm really putting my the money where my mouth is on these two. I really think more so Trevor Lawrence is going to have a really good year, but I do think Kyler will also have a bounce back year. Not a believer in either of these running backs, but I do love Nico Collins, obviously. I think he has a chance to finish wide receiver one on the year. Marvin Harrison, got to be better. You see another stack right there. Which stack is better? Probably Burrow and Chase, but, maybe Murray and Marv. Maybe that's the key to this matchup. Can Murray and Marv, they're playing the Saints. They have an easy week one matchup. Can they keep up with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase? David Njoku should have a lot of yards. They should be playing from behind, playing against Cincinnati. And then JSN and Garrett Wilson. Don't love Pat Freiermuth on the flex. I'm just going to say that. Don't love it. But I have Vice City pulling off the win, pulling off the upset here. You see the projections. He's projected to lose by 7 right now. I would take the money line, take Vice City. I believe in Vice City this year. I think they can make a sneaky championship run. I do think the 67ers are going to make the playoffs this year, but it's going to be a work in progress. I know on paper they probably have the better roster right now, but I'm going to go with the coaching advantage. And Vice City, they've had time to prepare. They're going to win week one.
All right, fellas, back from the car again. Just took a 5-hour exam, so at least we got football coming in. We had a lot of good practices this summer, a lot of good practices this week. We're ready for a week one opponent, Ahmad. Somehow I got a winning record against him, so we're looking to keep it up. not too worried. He's got a solid team, but, you know, we're looking to make some noise this year. Ever since I kicked him out of our city, it's all been love. So just looking to have a good game against him. And with the playoff wins, look, this is a narrative-driven league, all right? Everyone knows it. Who cares about playoff wins, all right? You know, I really stacked my team for a couple years, and the commissioner kind of screwed us there. 1 year we drafted in March. Why? We were bored during COVID. The other year we changed to Dynasty when I would have been done with my team round 7, round 8. So, you know, obviously if you throw out those 2 seasons, I don't look like I'm a great owner. Past 2 years, it's been a rough stretch, but, you know, we're here to make some noise. And then the narrative that I don't know ball is crazy. Find me a better sports gambler in this group that we got. All right.
On to number 3. We have James Ball against Gilchrist Kwanzaa, the Boston Baller brand, against the Dallas Laxbros. So, the Baller brand, maybe the sneakiest offseason of anyone in the JPDL. They really had an older roster previously, and now they've really rebuilt it. They have some young pieces. You see CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens and Devontae Smith. So tonight, Cowboys-Eagles, that's the key to this matchup. Who's going to pop off? Is this game going to shoot out, or is it going to be low scoring? If it's low scoring, the Baller brand might be in trouble. I love JT this week, man. If I was playing DFS, JT would be a lock in every single lineup against that Dolphins horrid defense. Baker Mayfield, Drake May, we'll see. I might be a little lower on those guys than most people, but I don't know. They should be pretty solid week 1. Baker gets the Falcons. Drake May gets the Raiders. T. Higgins, good piece right there. DeAndre Swift, obviously you don't love that at running back 2. And then I think Tet, as the season goes on, will really come onto his own. But really like what Boston did this offseason. But Dallas, speak of another young team, they were rebuilding the last few years. This is their first year, I'm not going to say back in competition, but back in relevancy. They have so many rookies, and I'm a little worried about the amount of rookies they have just for week 1. Obviously, as the season progresses, they're going to get better and better, but you see Marion Hampton, Travion Henderson, RJ Harvey, Matthew Golden, Cam Ward, 5 rookies already in week 1. So obviously there's a lot of upside. Brian Thomas Jr., absolute stud. Sam Laporta, top 3 tight end. Xavier Worthy, without Rashee Rice, should go absolutely ham to start the season. But in this one, I am going to take the favorite. I'm going to take him to cover. Boston Baller brand -7 would be my pick here. I liked him to win this matchup. Yeah, I not much to say other than, look, rookies are going to take their time. So let's bet on some of the proven vets early in the season.
Hey, what's going on, JPDL fans? Boston Baller brand owner here, James Ball, coming to you just after a run. So forgive me, I am a little out of breath, but just want to say how excited I am for this coming matchup I have with Gilchrist this week. Super excited to see 2 of my star players perform this Thursday night, George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. Really just looking for to see some chemistry brewing between the 2 of them and, of course, their quarterback, Dak Prescott, in that hopefully pass-happy offense down in Dallas, but tough opponent with the Eagles. And you know, I got a tough opponent myself with Gilchrist Kwanzaa out in Dallas, and you know, I'm excited to get the opportunity to match up with him. He's an awesome professional. And really just a class act. So, you know, I've been fortunate enough to have some success in the past, but I want to emphasize that, you know, I don't take anything for granted. Every week's a new week, and we try to approach it like that with our analysis and how we set things up to go out on the field and perform. So, super pumped.
Fellas, we have finally made it to one of the best days of the entire year, and that is the first day of the NFL season. We're ready. We've been practicing all year, and now it's finally time to hit somebody else. I know we got a lot of rookies on the squad. We've got guys fighting for spots, and I think this is a great opportunity for people to put their best effort forward, put their best product on the field, and make it easier on the coaching staff moving forward to put people in the right spots. Figure out who our regular starters will be. Um, the expectations for the rookies are kind of high because they're stepping into big shoes, but we will see in a short time, what that looks like on the field. I know coming up we play two of last year's teams that were in the championship. These are going to be tough first games for our rookies and young guys, but I think that getting some of these stronger teams early will set the tone for the rest of the season. And I think these guys would rather have a challenge early, and test themselves, and then moving down the stretch, be able to play with a little bit more confidence coming down the line. So we're excited. We got Boston Baller Brand up first. It's going to be a great game. We're going to use this game to collect a lot of feedback, a lot of data, and it's going to really help us moving forward. The first week of the season is always, kind of messy. You sometimes you can't always expect good football or perfect football, but this is why we practice. This is why we play. Go Lax Bros.
All right, matchup number 4. This is myself right here, Toronto Mystics, against the Las Vegas Hurdlers. Now, I'm projected to lose by 5. I'm going to be completely, what's the word I'm looking for? Not swaying towards myself. I don't know why I'm blinking right now. But like, wow, I'm going to try to be an independent observer right now. I don't know why I'm blanking on the word. Objective. I'm going to be objective here. Justin Fields, love him. Don't love him week 1 against the Steelers. That's the worst matchup he could have had. Mike Tomlin knows him. He had him last year. That defense is going to be ready to play. But I do like Jared Goff this week against Green Bay, stacked with Jamison Williams at wide receiver 1. For me, for the key to this game, it's going to be the running backs. What's Eckler? What's Jordan Mason? What's Nick Chubb? What are they going to look like? Yeah, I bet on a bunch of RB2s that have now become RB1s after recent developments. Brian Robinson gets traded, so Eckler moves up. Joe Mixon is injured, so Nick Chubb moves up. And then, yeah, look, I know my lineup is not the prettiest thing in the world, but I believe in the boys. I think there's more to be seen than meets the eye. Las Vegas, I'm a hater on them this year. This is my biggest rival. I should have mentioned at the top, this is rivalry week in the JPDL, so most teams are facing off that have had bad blood in prior seasons, and I think me versus Mills definitely fits that category. But JJ McCarthy, Caleb Williams on Monday night, James Cook on Sunday night, Hawkinson and Thielen on Monday night, Dallas Goedert tonight, Travis Kelce tomorrow night. His whole team's playing in prime time. Can I have a minute? Can I enjoy one primetime game without sweating against the other team? Nah. Yeah, and I like that. I'm ready. I feel like a boxer right now. I'm ready to be punched in the mouth. I'm ready to, foam at the mouth and kind of get my wherewithal and get ready to go after that. Look, this lineup has no aura. Really disgusting to look at. Being objective, the Hurdlers is an uglier lineup than mine is. So not sure. This is probably the hardest to project week 1 matchup, but I'm gonna go myself. And I am being objective, but +5, I do like my upside this week. Maybe not long term, but for week 1, I like what Eckler and Nick Chubb could look like. So we're gonna bet on the vets in week 1. Yeah, look, we are excited for our matchup this week. We are excited for all of our offseason preparations to finally see the light of day and come to fruition. We've heard the noise this offseason, and not that it affects us on a daily basis, but we write it down and we talk about it and we remember it for times like this. We're not playing for other people. We're playing for ourselves. We're not proving the haters wrong. We are proving ourselves correct. We are a family, and we're going to play as a family. And we're excited to go out there, brothers, arms locked, and defend the city of Toronto. We're starting out on the road, starting out in Vegas, just a clown show city, city of sins, city of debauchery. Expect nothing less from that owner out there in Las Vegas. We've had our differences in the past, and we are looking forward to starting off on the right foot. And that's really important for us. I know that people think we're going to trade away all of our assets, that we're going to rebuild this year. That's not in our plans. We believe in the people we have. We believe in the work that we've done, and that's our word for this week. It's belief. So yeah, I'm excited. I think we're going to win. I go into every matchup believing that we're going to win, and it's the burden of proof is on our opponent to prove us wrong, and we're not going to let that happen. If you're going to come at us, we're going to come at you 3 times harder. That's all we do. All we do is come out here in Toronto. So that's what we're looking forward to, and I hope we'll put on a show for the public. Not that we play for the public, but we enjoy you guys witnessing our greatness. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Get your cameras ready, get your phones ready. Toronto, we're coming.
Before we have questions, I'd like to start out with an opening statement. First off, we'd like to apologize to all 11 other owners for missing the gala tonight. I had to attend the shit show that is Aaron Nola and watch the Phillies lose to the Brewers, so apologize for that. Is it frustrating to be undervalued every year? No, it doesn't. This is where we thrive. This is where we like to play. We like to be at. I know the evaluators don't know ball like I do, and it shows every year when I'm ranked 9th, 10th, 11th, and then I finish 1st, 4th, or 6th. So we're in a good spot. We like where we're at, and I expect nothing but a 6th place finish this year. Yeah, excited to see the 2 young bucks go at each other at Monday night. It's really going to be a coaching masterclass. Neither team have defense, so I'm excited to go.
All right, last 2 matchups here, Sunday Night Football, and then we have Monday Night Football. These are the 2 best matchups of the week, in my estimation. We have the Philadelphia Frauds against the Atlanta Juicers. As I mentioned at the top, this is a championship preview, or a championship rematch from last year. So the Frauds, you have Josh Allen, you have Lamar Jackson, so maybe the 2 best quarterbacks in fantasy. A.J. Brown going tonight, DK Metcalf on new team, Brock Bowers, tight end 1. Jahmyr Gibbs, in my estimation, he should be RB1. Studs everywhere. I like Pacheco a lot this week. I like Evans a lot this week. There's a lot to like about the Frauds, and that's why they're 21-point favorites in week 1 over last year's champ, who nothing to sneeze at with Easton's roster here. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes and Dak. I'm a huge believer in Dak long term. Not sure what we're going to see from him tonight. Obviously, the Eagles have a really good defense. Tyreek Hill had a weird offseason, but I feel like the Colts is a nut matchup for him in week 1 in a dome. Really, the interesting part of this matchup will be those 2 wide receiver spots for Ethan, Drake London, Emeka Egbuka, going up against each other. Is that going to be a shootout in Atlanta? Are those 2 going to be going back and forth? If that happens, I think Ethan can keep it close. 21 points is a lot, but I'm going to say the Frauds cover. This is a huge line, and I don't want to be disrespectful to Ethan and Atlanta. I have a lot of respect for them. One of the only 2-time champions, only 2 members of JPDL have won 2 championships. He's one of them. He always is competing year in and year out. A lot of respect to them, but I think this could be a blowout in week 1, and I think Philly could really put themselves on the map as, if not the favorite, a real, true championship threat this year. So I'll go Philly to cover the 21 points.
All right, what's good, boys? Owner Ethan Bigby of the reigning champ Atlanta Juicers coming to you live. Currently about 12:30 West Coast time. You know, we're up late grinding the tape. We're in an Airbnb right now. We don't even have our own place. You know, we don't make excuses right now. You know, who else is doing this at this time of night? Nobody, man. This is what makes us great. This is where you win games. It's doing stuff like this. You know, checking rosters, depth charts, looking at the waiver wire. You know, looking at Ahmad dropping and adding the same player 4 times. Like, what's he up to, man? I don't know. Who else is doing it like me? Nobody. Anyways, wanted to come on here and answer these questions Kamish proposed to us. First one being, you know, do we have any celebrations planned for this championship? You know, banner unveiling? Of course. We do it big in Atlanta. Everybody knows that. You know, we swing for the fences around here. We may miss. We're going to try. So I want you to imagine this. I'll give you a little snippet. There's gonna be more than this, but everybody knows how Freddie the Falcon just, like bungee jumps off the top of the dome during the games. I just want you to picture this. I heard, a local Atlanta rapper, I'm not gonna say who, may have just dropped an album recently. I heard it wasn't the best album. Maybe he needs some publicity, you know. Maybe he bungee jumps as the banner's coming down and then performs live. And maybe he brings out a couple of his local Atlanta rapper friends. I don't know. Some of those guys, man, they haven't dropped anything substantial in a little bit. So hey, sounds like a great marketing opportunity to me. Yeah, man, definitely tune in. It's gonna be great. Question number 2: the folks who are saying that I might be experiencing a championship hangover in this roster. Look, all I'll say to that is we're dialed over here. I just mentioned that we're grinding, we're locked in. We've got the guys to do it again this year. With so much change in the off season and the expansion, we sold the whole team. I think we're really set up nicely to make a real run at this thing. I think depth is going to play a huge portion this year, as we got 12 teams now, and I think we got the best depth in the league. Yeah, there's no reason why we can't be back in the big one and bring it home for a second year in a row. So, hopefully this time next year I'll have an apartment and Mitchell can ship me my 3rd ring. But we'll have to see. JPDL week 1, this is what it's about, man. Let's get this thing going. It's football season. I'll see y'all next time.
So to answer your first question about the Atlanta Juicers, if there's any extra motivation going into this game, and the answer is absolutely. Ethan, he's kind of been the Eli Manning to my Tom Brady, the Patrick Mahomes to my Josh Allen, and my time here at the JPDL. So he's had our number and he's been calling it the last couple seasons and historically. So we're looking to right the ship in week 1. And in terms of your second question, we're very confident in Isaiah Pacheco and his ability to step up and fill Joe Mixon's shoes. I hope he doesn't assault anybody like Joe Mixon did. But I'm confident in him. That running back room is pretty terrible over there in Kansas City. So we have a decent amount of belief in him that he's going to be able to get the job done and hopefully score 8 to 12 points every week. Or I sure hope so.
Last matchup. LA Flames against the Washington Kickballers here. We have Will Fitzgerald going up against Mark Luther. This is probably, as of today, what I think we're going to see 6 months from now in the JPDL 2025 championship. The LA Flames, maybe the best roster I've ever seen for 1 year. If this was redraft, this would be close to a perfect roster. Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, great quarterbacks, Saquon Barkley, Bijan Robinson, Devon Achane, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs. If you guys did redraft, all these guys are going 1st and 2nd round. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's a late 1st round pick. George Kittle, tight end 3 in redraft. The only guy is Terry McLaurin, who's a question mark, and Will also has Deebo Samuel. So he can mix and match throughout the weeks depending on who's hot, who's getting more targets from Jaden Daniels. He has that stack there. So nothing really to say here. Just a really beautifully constructed lineup right there by the LA Flames going up against the Washington Kickballers. Yeah, I mean, this is another great team. There's not much to say. I'm a little worried about his quarterbacks. He also has Bo Nix, who, as of right now, Mark is not starting Bo Nix. He has CJ Stroud and Jordan Love starting. He's going to kind of rotate those 3 quarterbacks based on matchups. So Stroud this week gets the Rams, Jordan Love gets the Lions. I would probably agree with that. I think Bo Nix, obviously the Titans is a good matchup, but maybe they're running the ball a lot in the second half if they're up. Christian McCaffrey, highest upside player in fantasy football. Maybe aside from Justin Jefferson, his wide receiver 1, he has Trey McBride, who I think will have an amazing year. Lad McConkey, Chase Brown. Mark Andrews is a weird play in the flex, but you guys got to remember that Isaiah Likely is probably going to miss this week, so probably an astute play to put Mark Andrews there. This is a tough one. But I did say I do think the LA Flames have a chance to go undefeated this year. I do have Mark covering the 19 points, but I would have Will as this winner. Yeah, I mean, you guys remember at the top when the Milkers were projected by 70, LA's projected for 172. So Yeah, it's a have or have not league here in the JPDL. So
Oh, just came back from work. All right, first let's go over the injury report for us. We have Devon Achane questionable this week. And to be honest, I'm not going to rush him. If he plays, so be it. I would always love to see my player play. But, we have Debo Sandwich who can go out there and get some touches, and that's all we want to see. So going into this first question regarding, us having fun this year, because, that's what it's about in fantasy football. Yes, are we going to have less fun than we did in previous years? 100%. It's all seriousness. It's by far the most expectations LA has ever had, the most pressure LA has ever had, and we just need to compete. Okay, I have the best team, and arguably, I'll say it, I have the best group of guys I've ever had in the last 9 years of JPDL football. So yeah, there's going to be pressure, but there's going to be fun. Watching us win every week or most weeks, it's going to be fun. Watching us get the bye week is going to be fun. Watching us eventually hoist that trophy up is going to be fun. So look, listen, we're going to have fun this year. We're just going to get it in different ways than we did in the past. Now, regarding the second question, I don't know how that leaked, how that got out, what information was spread, and if it was false or not. But everyone knows going in that LA is definitely a place where you get traded at the will. Okay, so if Jalen Hurts was a part of trade talks, it's because Fitzgerald, me, I do my due diligence. I make sure to see what the market's looking like for almost everybody. Jaden, you're safe. But listen, Jalen Hurts, it's not just you. If you want to say and come think that it's you, it's not just you. It is everybody on my team. Everyone's been involved in every trade talk out there, okay? I have blank tickets, okay? All I have to do is write your name and you're gone. I already got your bags packed. They're at the airport as we speak. So, look, Jalen Hurts is our quarterback for the season. He's our quarterback for week 1, and that's really all that matters. And unless further, stuff prevents that from happening, we're going to see Jalen Hurts play for the LA Flames for a while, along with everybody else on our roster. So that's how it works. I'm ready for the week 1, and I'm ready for Thursday night. So let's go.
Yeah, people love to bring up our record versus Will. Honestly, we don't care. It doesn't add any extra motivation playing in week 1. It's the regular season. Who cares? And that really seems to be the only thing that Will's team does care about is the regular season, because they have the highest winning percentage in the regular season, yet they don't have a single ring, and we do. So ultimately, winning the championship is what matters. If we lose week 1, if we win, don't care. What matters is making playoffs, and then what we do from there. Will kind of lucked out, honestly, with his division, so if we do make playoffs, you probably won't see him until the championship. It is what it is, but yeah, we're not really worried about week 1. What we are worried about is just how the team looks and going forward. Yeah, the thought process this week is honestly kind of what we've alluded to earlier. It's going to be matchup based in terms of determining whether we go with Stroud, Love, or Nix, the 2 out of the 3 that we choose to go with. This week is no different. Bo Nix is probably maybe lined up to have the best season out of the 3 of them. Obviously, we'll see what happens. But week 1, we're probably going to have him on the bench just because playing the Titans, Broncos have a phenomenal defense. I don't expect the Titans offense to do much, and accordingly, it's going to be a negative game script. Going to be running the ball a lot. Don't expect Knicks to work up that many points. Jordan Love should maybe hopefully be in a shootout with the Lions. The Lions have to put up points. He's got a new defensive coordinator, so don't expect their defense to be really on top of things. Jaden Reed might be out / playing injured. Obviously isn't ideal, but they still have Matthew Golden there. Hopefully Dontavian Wicks learned how to catch a football over the offseason. Tucker Kraft, same with Romeo Dupes in terms of catching the ball. So we like that matchup. And then CJ Stroud versus the Rams. Rams definitely don't have a defense you can walk over, but we like what the Texans did in the offseason in terms of getting a lot of weapons around Stroud. We expect the Rams offense to do pretty well, keep up the pace. So hopefully it'll at least be a fairly decently high-scoring game. So we're going with Stroud. We're going with Love. Knicks will probably be on the bench for week 1. but in the future, he'll probably be a consistent starter.
So that's going to be the week 1 matchups. I'm excited to see how it plays out. I'm excited to see how my predictions do. So, yeah, make sure you guys are following along. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. We'll have plenty of content throughout the week, updating how our week's going. And I'd love to hear about your guys' league. Who are you guys? Do you have start-sit decisions? Are you guys feeling good about your matchups, feeling bad? I feel like week 1 is so important for your vibes and your mental health, just making sure you get off to a good start. So, yeah, that's all I had to say. Football's back. Enjoy it, guys. This day only comes once a year. It can only go down from here. Let's be honest. This is the highlight. This is as good as it's going to get before our mental health starts to deteriorate week in and week out. So, yeah, Thursday night, I'm excited for it. And let's get week 1 underway.